Now we got to go move on to our next topic. And this is one that really strikes at home for everybody here in Montgomery County. And it's because Montgomery County is well known as a bedroom community for federal employees working in Washington, D.C. or the area, general area and different federal agencies. And this week, County Executive Marc Elrich expressed concern about the impact that the Trump administration's federal layoffs may have on the county budget. Maricé, Mr. Elrich said it would be a seismic shock to the county if there's severe federal layoffs. What's going to happen? How does a legislative, you having been in the legislature, how do you weigh these things when trying to craft a budget?
You know, I mean, I think that's the main concern for most of our politicians, most of our state leaders, the governor, the comptroller, Brooke Lierman, and the legislature, losing out on major federal, not just layoffs, but federal funding for programs that the state of Maryland is able to offer. It's a huge concern. And I would agree with Marc. I think, it is a seismic level of damage that would be that would occur in our county. Just thinking about some of the layoffs, for example, with the FDA and the NIH, both agencies, they're in our county. Our neighbors work there. I understand there was 1,500 employees were laid off from NIH. So not just obviously, the devastation to the county in terms of being able to afford to live here if you have these government jobs, et cetera, but also just nationally, the research, the national treasure of the geniuses that we have living and working for the county, for the country, it is devastating. And I think the General Assembly, they have their work cut out for them. I mean, I do not envy my friends that are still in the legislature. I can't speak to what it is that they're doing because I'm not there. But I can see definitely, they're trying to grab onto whatever they can. From Montgomery College, for example, and higher education in general, we've also seen that cuts for the Department of Education and the firings at Department of Education, and then the attacks on DEI, et cetera, for a county and a state that is proud of our DEI efforts. We are having to change that, just on our websites and on our policies where we are using these federal funds. Otherwise, we're being threatened that those federal funds will no longer be there.
Well, there's a lot of issues going on, and Laurie, but it appears here. Let's focus on the county for a second. That the new school board and its unions haven't been reading the newspapers since this week, and next week they're holding different press conferences demanding full funding of the MCPS operating budget. With test scores to continue to decline and a massive threat of revenue from the loss of federal employment, when will these people wake up and smell the coffee that maybe their demands are not going to be met?
Yeah, I feel like in Montgomery County, it's so different than what's happening in the rest of the nation. And I feel like Montgomery County is doing resist and do the opposite of what Trump is doing. We had the superintendent proposed a $3.62 billion budget just for Montgomery County Public Schools. And then they turned around and added over 36 million more to that budget. I remember when it was 1 point something billion when my kids were in school. What happened? It's just more than doubled. And on top of what's going on there, it's not just that in the county. Our delegates are just nuts. They're actually proposing to increase the salaries of our Board of Ed members from $24,000 to $124,000 a year. Can you believe it? And then on top of that, you know what else they're doing? They're proposing to add more religious holidays to the calendar to account for the Muslim holidays and I think one Indian holiday, Diwali. So if we saw performance increasing, maybe that would make some sense, but performance is not, it's decreasing, it's getting worse. So how will any of these proposals and any of this extra money, how is that going to help students perform better? I feel like we're paying more and getting less.
Well, not just, here. I mean, I think the effects of the layoffs will have
Yeah,
a really
that's
strong
going to
effect
really possibly
on the
change.
county. I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to trickle down to all different levels, from the grant making that's done to the services that are being provided. It's certainly still a wait and see.
But
I know there are people that think that within 90 days from the beginning of the administration, things will settle down and be that things can be more normal. But I think it's going to be a really bumpy ride until we get to that place.